Hi, Thomas. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. You're presenting one of the demos, right?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay. You can try if you want sharing the screen, do any
Sure.
technical checks.
So I think you should see it now.
Yes, yeah, it works perfectly.
Just a short question. Can you read the text?
Yes, I can really.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
beginner, I think. So let's see. So I think Caroline is also presenting. Let's see. Hi, Caroline. Are you there? You don't, okay, you don't have a microphone.
Seems like it's still connecting.
Okay, no, she left. Yeah. So we have two presentations in this room, right?
Yes.
Yours and yeah, you will be presenting twice.
Yeah, but I think everyone.
Yes. Yeah, let's see if Claudio joins because he's chairing the session. I'm curious to see how he's chairing two sessions at the same time because he's in two rooms. I don't know how that's gonna work. Yeah, he'll
I think
manage.
he's creative, so.
Could you join other sessions so far?
Yeah, so I had a lot of time to do this. Quite interesting. So even as you see, I'm from Salonis, so a bit
Yeah.
not involved in academia so much anymore.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to see what's happening in the meanwhile.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so authors of the other presentations are also trying to join. Hello, Manuel, Caroline. Could you tell me, please? Manuel, are you there? Yes. We don't hear you. I don't hear you. Can you hear him, Thomas? Can you hear
I can
anything?
hear you. But
No.
not Manuel.
Okay, we still have some minutes left.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi. So you can hear me perfect.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Perfect.
but we can't see you. It would be convenient to also see your face if possible. And maybe also try this. Yes, there you are. And maybe also try the slides to check that everything works fine. Well, you are muted now again.
Thank you. So share screen. So you can see my slides here right now?
Yes, I can. Well, we also see ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Yes, better now. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Should be fine. If you want to try maybe moving back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Perfect. So,
If you want to remove the Zoom window, you can also share just a single window.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, we'll have to switch windows, I guess.
Okay, so
During the presentation for the demo. So there you can see the demo right now.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll stop sharing. Okay.
Good. All set up. Just waiting for the.
Just switch on the light.
Yes.
Better.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. I'm just a backup for Caro, so we are testing that it works. If something crashes, we can just switch the computer and then it should work. Good. So what was a bit confusing to us was in the morning, you sent out the link to the session and now you didn't. So we didn't know how to join.
You're muted, Christina.
Christina, you're muted.
Sorry, I was looking like stupid. What did you say? Sorry.
We were confused how to get into this room to be recognized as presenters, because in the morning you sent out the link and we thought that link was for, you know that these people who join with this link are presenters. And now there was no such link, so we joined over the Woowa website.
There is no distinction, I think, for this type of session. There are two different types of sessions, the meetings and the webinars. And for the meetings, everyone can join, so we just have to accept them when they try to join. That's why I'm just accepting the people who are presenting. There are 3 other people waiting on the list, but when everything is set up and it's time to begin, then they will come in.
That's nice.
So you're kind of gatekeeper today.
And just we're second, right? Not first.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, Claudio is also missing in the other room, so same problem. Claudio? Can you say hello? Well, you don't seem to have audio. You need a mic, otherwise. Okay. Claudio, you are twice on the list. Yeah, yes. Finally, but we don't hear you. We can't hear you. Now it comes. I'm gonna
No, you muted.
You're muted. Maybe I can sort that.
Perfect.
Yes, we are complete.
Yes, we are. So perfect. All right. So guys, we're now, I think you can hear me in 2 different rooms, which is exactly what we are aiming at this moment. So we are ready to start off the new, thanks a lot, Christina, for helping out there. Thanks also Bedelia on the other room. All right. So welcome to the demo session of BPM 2020. We're very happy to have you all here. You may have seen that we had to split the rooms a bit to let everyone be able to present their own demos, which is fairly much like what happens in the live sessions, in which we are considering the opportunity to jump from one side to another and watch at the same time, or actually not at the same time, but in a series, the different demos. So that's exactly what we do also in this setting, although it's virtual. If you're here, it means you have already had a look at the links and the presenters. So we can therefore start already with the first presenter. Let's see. All right. So we see you guys already ready to start off.
Yes.
And, right. So I would leave the stage to you. Please, would you try if you can share your screen?
They tried before. They checked and everything worked. So
perfect. So I would say let's start it off then.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Thomas Vogelgesang, and I want to present the demo dynamic pattern-based case filters using regular expressions. So I want to start with a short concept overview. So we have regular expressions introduced into our Celonis process query language, just to allow users to filter for specific patterns of behavior in the cases, and not just only by attributes or specific dimension values. So it looks like the following. So we have a user, and the user has some search. So he wants to somehow filter the data and find some particular behavior. And for that, he creates a regular expression, which is translated into a DFA. And this is then used to replay the event log and filter the event log, and to drill down, for example, a process map that shows the filtered process. So now let's take a look how it works. Before that, I want to show you a quick overview of the data we have. So this is a standard order to cache process from the Celonis IBC. We have roughly 6 million activities, about 988,000 cases, and about 500 different variants or traces. So this is the analysis I set up for you for this demo, and it consists of several parts. So first we have the Process Explorer, which shows the process. On the left side, you see some numbers. The first is the number of variants, which is currently shown in this analysis, and the number of cases that is shown in this analysis. And you have some controls here on the left side I will explain in a few minutes. So the idea of this regular expression is to find some patterns of process behavior, for example, some sequences of specific events that should occur in the data we are taking a look to. And there are different ways to define these regular expressions. You can just write them on your own if you're an experienced user, for example, some power user who sets up the analysis by its own. But of course, there are a lot of unexperienced business users who don't know anything about regular expressions and so on. They are only interested in using these analyses. And for these users, we can have different predefined regular expressions for filters. So we can just easily select one filter scenario and just drill down. In this example, I just show the regular expression here in the text box. So what we are currently watching here is the resolved delivery blocks. So the pattern looks like the following. So we have at some point a delivery block set indicated by the activity set delivery block. And in the end, we also have some release of this delivery block, which is indicated by release delivery activity. And in the meanwhile, there can be an arbitrary number of activities just showing it. And as you see here, we filter down the data with this regular expression. Yeah, so we just currently show only one single variable which matches this pattern. I want to give you also a quick look behind the scenes, how this analysis is set up. So for this, I will go to the edit mode. And as I said, it's integrated into the process query language. And in this part here, we have some filter defined for this process explorer, which shows the process. And here we see that we have some operator, the match process regex operator, and this is exactly doing this filtering. So we pass the activity column to it and the regular expression, and then it will just check all the different cases for the regular expression. And if it matches the regular expression, it will return 1 for each case, or 0 if it doesn't match. So just by comparing equals 1, we only keep the cases that are matching. As you see here, I didn't define the regular expression directly in here, so this is something a Power user would do. The Power user would just write a string which defines the regular expression. But to make it also available for the business users, I added, or I used a variable called regular expression, where the regular expression is actually stored in and inserted into this formula. And by this drop-down menu, we have different predefined regular expressions where we then, for example, enter the value just by switching the different entries of the drop-down menu. And also this text box here below is just bound to this variable, so we can see it and also enter and edit it directly if we want to filter them in an ad hoc fashion. All right. So regular expressions here in this case, as you have seen, we were using the activity column of our data model, but it's not restricted to activity columns. You can also use other columns which are related to the activities in your data model. And so, for example, we can also filter by other columns like the user name, for example. In this case here, we have two different examples. For example, all cases that are automatically started but somehow manually finished. I will select it quickly. And you can see here now the regular expression. So we have some user, which is called batch job. This username indicates that there's some automatically triggered activity. And with this symbol, we just say we have to start with this batch job. Then there can be any activity. And then we can also say the final activity, the final activity in this trace. This should not be executed by this batch job. And if we take a look into the filter again here, it looks the same. So still the same simple formula, but instead of the activity, we use the username. All right, so I would like to conclude now the demo and switch to the Q&A session. But first, if you're more interested in the process query language of Celonis, we will have, during the coffee break tomorrow, some live demo and some introduction to this query language where you can learn more about it. All right, thank you very much for your attention, and now feel free to ask your questions.
Thank you very much for being so timely indeed. So, questions from the audience. This is the time for interacting. Well, if there aren't, well, I would ask, so I'm curious about the origins of PQL. So we know there has been quite some research in the University of Melbourne on this. So I wanted to know more or less if you have already had some exchanges with Artem Poliani and their group, like in Australia, to develop the formal semantics of the language.
Yes and no. So in the development of the formal language, so we didn't have this contact, but we have contact to Artem in further discussions, also in his upcoming PQL book. There is also some chapter from Celonis about this Celonis process query language. So maybe to explain a bit the differences. So this language here is not about managing process models or maintaining process repositories. It's more related to, for example, SQL. So in the original PQL of Celonis, which is actually quite old right now, it was just some extension to SQL, just to ease the definition of process-related queries for the users. And then we redefined it in 2016. So we started from scratch, created our own query engine, also started to design the language from scratch. And we had some particular design goals for this, for example, simplicity for the business user. But we were not directly relating to these other process-related languages at that part, but more to SQL and the idea how to make data queries on process data more easy and more related to process mining and process discovery. Yeah, and of course, if you want to learn more, I will also cover this tomorrow in the talk at our booth. All right, are there any further questions?
Sorry, I had forgotten my microphone muted indeed. So are there any further questions? All right, so if not, I would thank a lot to you for your great presentation, and go ahead with the next presentation for this demo session. Thank you very much. A big applause to you from the audience and from me as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
So hello everyone. I guess we're next. Yeah, hi, my name is Caroline, and I'll try to share my screen now. So.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Hopefully you can see the slides now.
Clearly, yes, thank you.
Perfect. So for those who did not or could not attend the teasers, I just recap what our tool called RecMiner is all about. So on the left side, you can see this bunch of documents, like you have the GDPR, or you have ANACredit, all these regulatory documents, and you might want to analyze them. So that's why we decided, okay, what can we do about this? And we started our research, and this is what came out here. The tool called RecMiner, which you can see here in the middle, and I'll show you in a short demo afterwards. Yeah, on the right, you can see also our output, which I'll also be elaborating on in a few seconds when slides are finished. But as you can already see, it's a graph-based structure, and what RecMiner actually does is it extracts constraints from those regulatory documents and tries to cluster them based on different options, which we're going to see also in a minute. But shortly, this is also in the paper, this picture here. It describes our architecture. So essentially we have a presentation tier, which just communicates with the logic tier where all the magic happens. So there we have this NLP component, which has been developed for now 3 years, I guess it's already, since I started my PhD. So yeah, this component is just extracting the constraints and groups the constraints and calculates also the constraint graph, which you can see in the output then. And we also have a database in the data tier here, down below. So yeah, we can store all the information, and we try to build up a little database to yeah, be able to not just recalculate everything we've already calculated, but to just load it from the database in the end. So, all right. Now it works. So I go and switch to our website, which you can access via recminer.wst.universität. And it's just a single page layout, as you can see here. And you can access our publications if you want to know more about what is under the hood, so to say. And yeah, we can start with uploading the documents. So the regulatory documents, either you can provide a zip file, or we also integrated the EUROLEX database. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but these are just HTML documents from the European Union, like, for example, the GDPR, and you can access these via HTML links. And within our tool, you can just copy one link and insert it here. And you can choose between 2 languages. English and German are currently supported, where German is under development, but it works at least quite okay by now. And for extracting the constraints, you can choose from several different signal words. So let's say an example of a constraint could be, for example, risk assessment should be repeated periodically to address any changes that might influence the risk assessment results. So in this case, a constraint from the regulatory document would contain the word should. But there could also be several different words. You can just enter them here, like shall, must, whatever you like or whatever you want to filter out, and send it to RecMiner. So RecMiner will determine constraints based on these signal words. And here you can choose how to group those constraints. So either you can do pure clustering, then you have to provide the number of clusters you want to have in the end. And you can also do the subject determined by sentence structure option, which means we're searching for the keyword you entered, like should or shall or must. And we automatically extract, for example, the subject of the sentence. So in this case, risk assessment. And we do this for each constraint. And based on those words like risk assessment or just assessment or user shall do X, Y, Z, we cluster and group those constraints. Or you can also provide just user-defined terms by uploading a text file in this case. So, and if you do so, you will receive such a graph here. And you can see we chose subject determined by sentence structure. So let's have a look at that. We'll take the green cluster here, and it extracted commission. And, oops. And here you can see now the paragraph where this constraint appears. It's in paragraph P17. And here the constraint is also marked in yellow. Yes, and if you enter more keywords, like should and shall, for example, then you can see, okay, more constraints were found. And yeah, you will receive more constraints in this case, and also probably more clusters. Yeah, that's basically it. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks a lot for being so timely and so specific about the functionalities of the tool. Very lovely. By the way, this is the setting here for Zoom. I forgot to mention is not as the other ones. So we had during the main conference. So here, if anyone has a question, just pick up your microphone and speak out loud. It's more free, so to speak, for interaction. So, any question from your side?
Hi, Claudio.
Hi.
I have a question. Hi, Caroline. Thank you for the nice presentation. So I was wondering, what happens if in your document you have constraints that are clashing? So they are related to the same terms, but they may be clashing. So contradicting sentences related to some constraints.
Okay. Yes, we have also publications on that. We're trying to extract contradicting or also subsuming constraints. This is not already integrated into the tool, but you would be able to identify those constraints. Yes.
Okay, so that will also be showing in the graph, like.
Yes, this is currently work in progress.
Okay, that's very interesting.
But you can have a look at the publications if you like.
At the publications.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a question regarding basically the semantics of each paragraph is different. If I see in a law, there's paragraphs that describe definitions and then other obligations, but then some paragraphs come into act at one given point in time. Have you considered this kind of a temporal or causal relations between paragraphs?
That's a very interesting point, which was also raised by our industry partners. And well, by now you would have to probably choose the zip file option where you can just specify the paragraphs you want to analyze. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You would have this to do on your own and beforehand, but then you can just analyze specific paragraphs.
Thanks.
Very good. So any further questions from the audience? Right, so just in case, could you please, if I may have missed that part, but I remember that there would be also something about like the multilingual capability of the tool. So is this for research, future research? Are you already developing this part, like to try to plug the system towards other languages?
Yes, exactly. We're trying German right now because this is supported by the tool we use. It's called SPACY, the natural language processing engine. Behind that, and German is quite good supported, but other languages are quite difficult, and but we're working on it right now.
Well, maybe we can go through Dutch, which is kind of halfway through.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So if there aren't any further questions, I would say let's dedicate a big applause to you. Thanks, Caroline, for the presentation. And yeah, so this basically concludes this branch of the presentations. So the next will start in the, not immediately, but at 14:45. We are around with the same demos you've seen in this meeting channel. Just saying that the same demos will be presented again. So in case, of course, I mean, the authors are still here. So if you have any further questions, just take the chance. And the stage is all yours. So thanks again, guys, for your great presentations, and see you at the very latest in about 20 minutes.
Catherine, if you're still there, can I ask you a couple of questions more?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So another thing that is really interesting on this visualization of laws is the inter-document relations. So any law has a jurisdiction, and then sometimes you have a you have to pay the benefits of services according to the municipal law, whatever. Is this something that you consider as well?
Yeah, we're also considering this, and I guess within the Eurolex, which I just showed you for a quick second, there are also references across that. So we're trying to use this website and to build the database there. But yeah, also extracting this from text would be quite interesting, and to have these cross references directly. Yeah.
Are you planning to relate these visualizations to any notion of processes like a imperative or declarative process model?
Yeah, indeed. We also had publication at Kaiser 2019, I guess it was, where we tried to extract what we call so-called mixed graphs, where we tried to, first of all, extract a workflow, so to say, based on these documents. And then, yeah, we want to have a graph in the end. So it's towards imperative notions, yes.
Okay, because we have a similar work on GDPR, but for declarative process models. So that's it's something that I'd love to hear more about with your approach.
Yeah, sure. If you want, you can send me an email, or we can get in touch somehow.
Sure.
Would be interesting.
So we're about to start the second round of this demo session. I would ask Thomas, if you're online, if you could already check if the equipment is well connected, and great, thank you.
My screen?
Yes, just share the screen for the moment so that there is something popping up and it's not just a black screen. Thank you very much. So we're about to start in less than 10 minutes or so. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm now speaking at the same time in 2 different channels for the sake of for clarity. That's why I'm now suggesting all to get ready for the next presentations. We have on channel 3 the presentation of PMSD from a data-driven simulation using system dynamics and process mining from Mahza, and on channel 5 on channel 5, instead, we have Thomas from Celonis for the presentation of dynamic pattern-based case filters using regular expressions. So just to remind the rules of the game, in this case, we are attending a session which is highly interactive. So that's why we don't have a usual system for raising the hand and getting the questions moderated. We like a rather interactive setting. Therefore, if you have any questions, please write directly them in the chat, or in case, just wait for the end of the presentations and speak out loud, take your microphone. We don't, it's free access for that. So the presenters have at their disposal 10, 12 minutes to present, then the rest is basically Q&A. So please do not hesitate to, don't be shy, they're here for you. And yes, so I'd say we're 1 minute in advance. I see that both Mahza and Thomas are both ready. Sorry, I'm looking now at multiple screens at the same time. That's why I'm reaching around. So 14:45, stage is yours, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome everybody. I would like to present to you dynamic pattern-based case filters using regular expressions. A new feature we have built into Celonis, and I want to start with a short overview of the concept. So usually as a user, you just don't want to filter only by specific attributes or specific dimension values, but you want to also filter by patterns describing some behavior in your process, and you want to drill down to the cases that actually match this pattern. And as a user, with our approach, you can define a regular expression, which is then translated into a deterministic finite automaton. And this is then used to replay the event log and filter the event log to drill down, for example, some process map to the cases of interest and get some new insights. So with that said, I want to jump into the demo. But before we show the regular expressions, I want to just give you some overview of the data. This is a standard data set from Celonis, from order to cash process. So from everything receiving the order until clearing the invoice. It has more than 6 million different activities, roughly 1 million cases, and around 500 different variants or traces. So with this regular expression-based filtering, we offer some integration into our process query language. And the idea is that, for example, experienced power users can define some regular expressions that drill down the data, and also non-experienced business users should be able to do this as well by predefined expressions. And for that, I set up some simple demo analysis where we see the Process Explorer just showing us the process with the happy path. We have some controls on the left side, some numbers showing us the currently visible number of variants and number of cases. And we have a drop-down menu with the predefined filters, so we can drill down our data. Additionally, we also have the regular expression shown below in this text box, where we can also edit it. But I want to use the drill down via the predefined expression. So what we want to take a look now is all the cases where we resolve some delivery block. So we select it and we see there's only one variance matching 168 cases. And the regular expression is shown below. So we just filter to all the cases where there's where there was a delivery block set. Then there can be an arbitrary number of any other activities, and then there is some release delivery activity to just which indicates that the delivery block was removed. Yes. How does this work in the background? For this, I want to go to the edit mode. We'll take a look into the Process Explorer, so the graph. There is some filter related to it, which just filters down the data used for this graph. And as you see here, we have some process match process regex operator, which actually checks a regular expression to the cases in the background, and it returns a 1 if the case matches this pattern, and a 0 if it doesn't match. And the inputs for this are quite simple. So we have one column, which is the activity column in this case. So we know what are the different tokens, in this case, activities for the regular expressions. And we have the regular expression itself. Usually, as a power user, if you set up some analysis, you would just define the regular expression directly here in this formula. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we extracted the regular expression into some variable, which can be also set by the drop-down menu on the left-hand side I showed you before. All right, and as you see, also the lower text input is related to this variable, and if I change for example, to another predefined, so where I want to have some second payment reminder without a first reminder, which might be also some interesting case for the business, then we will automatically update everything and also the numbers, as you can see here. All right, I want to go to the next tab, which also shows the same setup, but in this case, we don't filter by the activity itself. We can also use other columns, for example, the user who actually performed the action, and this allows us to also define different patterns there. For example, in this case, we choose pattern 2, which is the automatically started but manually finished cases. So the pattern looks like below. So we start with a batch job. This must be the very first activity, and then there can be an arbitrary number of any other activities done by any user, whoever it might be. But important at the end, there must be an activity which is not executed by this batch job, which indicates the automatic activity. Yeah, and if we see, or if we look at the numbers on the left side, we also see that the data has been drilled down. Yeah. So before I conclude my talk, I would just invite you to learn more about PQL. So everything is integrated into this language, and a bit about the history and the design goals of this language I will explain tomorrow during the coffee break from 11:15 on. And yeah, I would like to invite you to join this meeting there as well. So yeah, thank you very much for joining this call and this demo, and feel free to ask your questions. Just unmute yourself and ask.
Indeed, thanks very much for also self-managing the session. Thank you. All right, yes, indeed. Sorry. Any curiosity from the audience about this very worthwhile project?
So, hi, Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, hi, Claudio.
Hello.
Yeah, I was wondering, so you were filtering the log with the regular expressions. Are you able to save the result of the filtering?
Yes. So actually, there are different ways. So I mean, usually it's an interactive analysis. it highly lives from the interaction with it and the drill down in an agile fashion. But as you see here, we have this share your selections filters. So if we drill down to some specific filter, we can share this selection, and also as I showed before, you can also preview the different filters, and then they are bound to a variable in the background, and then they are also stored. So if I leave the analysis and return to it at a later time, I will also see the same screen again with the same filtering on this.
Okay, nice. But I was also wondering if you can download the result event log. So in this scenario, for instance, you have like 200,000 cases. Am I able to download just these guys?
Yes, you are. So it depends on the setup of your analysis. In the IBC, in general, it's possible to download data from, for example, from a table. So what I have here is an analysis with two different tables, and let me drill down here. So the upper one is the unfiltered, the lower one is the filter. And if it's enabled, you can usually open the context menu and you'll find some download button. I didn't set it up in this analysis because you can also for privacy reasons, because you not always want to download your data. But yeah, this is in general possible, so you can download, for example, a CSV file or some Excel file with the data you filtered down.
Okay, nice. If I can have one more curiosity. So do you think it's interesting to maybe try to confront results so you can choose different filters, right? Do you think it makes sense to try to compare the results of two filters, for instance, to see if what are the intersections or get some new insights? Do you think it makes sense, or?
Yes, so this is some quite common use case. So usually, so I mean, you're totally free in setting up your analysis. So you can, for example, create two process explorers and set them next to each other, and then define different filters statements for them. So you can dynamically drill down, and you can also, for example, provide drop downs like before for both of them. So you can just also select predefined filters and compare them to each other. This is easily possible. It's just a 5-minute setup.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from the audience? All right. So yes, in case there aren't, I was wondering, do you already have had some evaluations with users to check like the perceived usability of the tool? What are the patterns they tend to look up the most? And this kind of interactions. So what is usually the preferred way of interacting with the tool? I mean, with the regular expressions, especially.
So by now we didn't have some detailed user studies about that, but this would be quite interesting. But I think it's worth to mention that this was one of the most requested features by our users. Especially the data scientists setting up analysis, they wanted to have such a feature like this. It was one of their biggest wishes. I would say what we were actually doing in our IBC is keeping track of, for example, execution times. So we can check if there are some, for example, outliers, if there are some queries that take too much time, so we can optimize that. But regarding the usability, we didn't do any studies so far.
Thanks very much. Sorry for the silence. It was again like commuting with the microphone. Right. Sorry. Very, very interesting. Yeah, the development. Really looking forward to the next round of it. Therefore, and right. So I would say at this stage, maybe Caroline, would you like to start having yeah, loading the screen? Although we still have some time before starting to, so as to keep all the presentations synchronized and let interested attendees enter the channel. Caroline, enter. Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Here.
So yes, well, maybe we can already start loading the splash screen with your slide so as to let everyone entering by
Yes.
15:05. What's gonna, yeah, great. What's gonna come? Thanks.
Okay. When can I start?
So technically it's 3:05. So maybe we can start right away or like 5 minutes earlier. But then in case, just please make sure to cover up the entire time. I'm just kidding. Just to, you know, because I've seen before there were some interactions with other attendees entering from another channel. Therefore, they were like waiting to like coming halfway through. So maybe to you know, reduce or lenish this issue a bit, we can start straight at 15:05.
Okay, then just give me the go.
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, if you agree with that, otherwise we can start already.
No, it's fine.
Perfect. Right, so while we wait for the next session to start, for the people who are already attending the session, waiting for 15:05 to start the next round, sorry, the next presentation, let me recall that we are already offering not only the recorded videos of the tools, but also the authors were so great not only to record the videos, but also to provide tutorials, and also the papers are already published on CURE-WS proceedings. In the proceedings, you can find the papers, and all the papers have the links to the additional material. So in case you're more curious about the tools, or maybe you have missed some presentations already, well, you can still look up what the authors had for you. So again, a big applause to all the authors for their incredible effort to produce all this material. That's really not so trivial to do it all. So thank you, guys. And right, so getting closer to 15:05, and then we can start the next presentation. I also thank the presenters thus far, who has been incredibly timely. So they had 10 to 12 minutes at their disposal. They used it all, and not a minute more. So despite the great interest that the tools that they have you know, have been presented this far raise in the attendance, in the attendees, sorry, in the audience. All right, so it's 15:04 in Central European time zone. We're happy to have on channel 3 Volodymyr Leno for the presentation of Rubidium, automated synthesis of robotic process automation scripts using UI logs. And on channel 5, we have Caroline Winter presenting RegMiner, taming the complexity of regulatory documents for digitalized compliance management. So our presenters are already connected, ready to start. Thank you guys for being here with us. And yes, so as well, let me remind again, whoever wants to intervene, just please feel free to type down your questions in the chat, or in case towards the end of the presentation, feel free to just speak out loud to let the presentations be highly interactive. So Volodymyr, Caroline, thank you very much. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Claudio. So welcome everybody. I'm going to present our new tool, RegMiner. And for those who did not attend or could not attend the teaser session in the morning, I'll show you the teaser slide we had there because it explains quite good what RegMiner is all about. If you can look on the left side, there you can see a bunch of regulatory documents like the GDPR, which you might probably all be familiar with, and something like ANA-credit or the ISO standards, etc. And you have to analyze them probably. And how can you do this? So yeah, we developed a tool which can assist you in processing those documents. And on the right side, you can see the output of our tool of RegMiner. You can access RegMiner via this URL here, and you can find more information on our project website later on if you still have any questions or want to know more about it. So just let me just give you a brief overview of our architecture of the tool RegMiner. So we start with our presentation tier, which you will be seeing in a few moments in action. There you can just receive the user input and say, okay, I want to have this document analyzed in this language, and I want to have specific signal words for extracting constraints. And yeah, also the result is displayed via this tier. So afterwards, everything is handed to the logic tier, and there's the NLP component, which is basically the heart of RegMiner and has been developed for now 3 years. It extracts your constraints from those regulatory documents. It groups constraints based on the option you have chosen as a user, and the constraint, it calculates the constraint graph, which is the output here. We also integrated a database in the data tier, and this is just because some regulatory documents are quite extensive. You might know that GDPR has a lot of pages to analyze, and this might take some time. So if you've already analyzed something, then we can just reload this from the database and do not have to recalculate it again. So let me show you the tool. This is it. It's just a single page layout designed for clear purposes here. As you can see, you can upload either your documents as a zip file, or you can also access the Eurolex homepage website, which contains a lot of European laws and so on. And what you can do here is just copy and paste the HTML link and inserted it here into the toolbar, and choose your language. Currently we have support for English and German. And afterwards you can also select your signal words based on which constraints are extracted. So you can use, for example, should or shall, but also must could be a signal word for you, depends on what you want to do. So, and afterwards we can maybe try this on the fly here. So Eurolex, I'll copy and paste the URL, and it's in English, and I want to have the signal word should. And I want to have the grouping option based on subject determined by sentence structure. So for example, you might have a sentence saying, for example, that risk assessment should be repeated periodically. And then what the tool does, it automatically extracts the word risk assessment for you. And every other constraint that also concerns risk assessment will be directed to the perfect group in this case here. What you can also do is clustering. So there you have to just choose the number of clusters you want to have in the end, and the tool clusters your constraints based on this number of constraints and based on term frequencies in this case. Or otherwise, you can just provide user-defined terms how the groups should look like. So let's try this. So here we go. Now you can see our corresponding graph, and you can see the clusters here. So we extracted procedure as within one sentence, or commission, and you can also double tap onto one of these dots, and then you will get the paragraph in which the constraint was located, and it is also marked in yellow again. Yes, and if you enter more signal words, more than just should, here in this case, we have should and shall, and you can directly see the difference between those two graphs because more constraints were extracted right now, logically because we have more signal words entered here. Yes, so I guess that's it for now. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Caroline, for your very neat, clear, and concise presentation. That was very, very lovely. Great project, by the way. So,
thank you.
Any questions from the audience? All right. So, if there aren't any, or at least none that I can read this far,
I can maybe do one.
Yes. Please, of course, go ahead.
Yeah. So first, congratulations. It's a very nice and very useful tool. Yeah. I was just wondering if there is a semantic for the position of the graph. So you have the different colors and also the position. Do you have a semantic for that? What's random?
No, it's random by now because, yeah, from visualization perspective, we did not choose any, primaries here, but you can see maybe that there's a huge cluster commission, and I think that's what's quite important. But yes, we do not have.
Okay, commission is in the end, not because of a choice, maybe because if it was the first one to get to find and then goes to the boss, something like that. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Good. So thanks, Katch, for your question. Thanks a lot, Caroline, for the thorough answer. I have a curiosity, but I have some. I'm curious to know more about like the application of the tool. So considering that the legal codex is fairly huge, I was wondering in this case, what are some moments in which you see that the application works great, so exactly as expected, or what are the things that instead of your like the kind of documents or kind of sentencing that tends to be to leave room for next future improvements of the tool?
Yes, for sure there are some things that are not quite easy to handle or directly because if you think of enumerations or something like that, so there are sometimes these half sentences, I would describe them. You have just saying, okay, a user needs to A, B, C, D, etc. And this must be processing this in an automated way is quite hard because you do not have the whole sentence available, and then NLP2s fail. So yeah, we have to work on that, and this is also currently what we're trying to improve in this case here. So to say to have a whole sentence available, that makes sense in the end. this is quite challenging, and also for the legal domain happens quite often, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, real data, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Very nice. All right, so further questions from the audience? Well, in case, let me tell you what. So now we have still plenty of time along this channel to still intervene and ask Caroline about this project, which you can still leave the room for further analysis. And right, so this channel, basically channel 5, ends the transmissions kind of now, but still we leave it open in case of further questions. I know that also Caroline is one of the authors of another tool which is being presented in the next round, right? So it's VPEX. Right. So
Right.
Don't want to make any advertisement there, but
it's fine. A colleague will take care of it. So I can stay here if there are any more questions.
Indeed. So in case there is a chat, plus of course there are the multiple occasions with during the coffee breaks to interact with the speakers. So thanks a lot to you, and very happy to have been involved in this session. Good. So I would also like to thank Thomas and guys. So talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.